Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about this game called The Platform 8 and why it's good and fun. It's going to be a fairly short video because it's a fairly short game and there's not really that much to talk about. I just want to talk about why it's good and why you should buy it if you're interested. Anyways, there's nothing else to say, so let's get into the video. I have 3 sections. These sections are graphics, horror, and gameplay. I'm going to go over these sections, and I'm talk about how the game does each one of these fairly well, and yeah, that's all. So let's get into the first section. The first section, like I said, is graphics. Now, the graphics in this game are very, very good, and I think they are a step up from the original. The original game is called The Exit 8, if you're curious. This one is called The Platform 8, or just Platform 8 for some reason. It doesn't have the. I don't know why. But the graphics of this game are very well done, and they're actually used for some quite creative scares, in my opinion. And yeah, the graphics and everything just look really, really good. The reflections of everything. It's just really, really nice. There isn't really much else to say here besides the graphics look really good. So on to the next section. Now we move on to horror, and I think overall the horror in this game is pretty good. I'm going to be comparing it to the original and how it improves on the horror, just like because the title of this video is called "This is how you make a sequel." At least that's what I think it will be called as I'm recording this. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to explain why the horror is good, because I think it's pretty good. So basically, here's how the horror works. You go room to room, or car to car if you want to be a nerd. And basically, different spooky things will happen and show up. Some of these things can be threats, and some of them are purely just visuals meant to scare you, such as the blood on the windows or the eye I showed earlier. These things do not hurt you, and they're simply just meant to scare you. Now, the threats are much more interesting. There are a variety of threats, from playing red light, green light, to trying to survive reaping angels, and weird persistent areas where you have to walk through the scary people without dying. Now, I think something that helps this game be more scary are the graphics. It's just overall the horror works, especially in your first playthrough, having some pretty well-timed jump scares, and going room to room not knowing what's going to come next is the main fear factor. When you beat the game and you do everything, the game isn't that scary, but it still can scare you every so often. Now, there's one more thing that amplifies the horror a little bit. It's pretty small, but I would like to talk about it. The closer you get to the end of the game, the more tense and scary it gets, because you don't want to die, because when you die, you go all the way back to the start. There are no checkpoints. And basically, it's just really that simple. The farther you get, the more scared you are of dying. And I think this game does it well to where the punishment isn't too big. It just makes the game more tense, and I like that. I'm going to talk about this game's horror and the last one to just overall discuss why this game's horror is much better than the original. Now first, let me talk about The Exit 8, the predecessor. The game was not that scary, if I'm being honest. It focused more on atmosphere for horror, which could be done better than this game. It just overall doesn't do as good. Walking through the halls wondering what's going to happen is pretty scary. Once you get the gist of it, which will happen about in your first playthrough when you start to understand things, the game really is not that scary. You just basically have to spot the difference with very minimal threats, and when they do show up, they are much easier to deal with in this game. Now let me talk about the gameplay. I've already sort of talked about it earlier, but I'm gonna elaborate on it a little bit and how it creates replayability, unlike the other one, in a pretty good speedrunning game if you really want to speedrun it. So basically, like I said, you have to get to the 8th car, and then you can escape the spooky, scary train, which is very epic and fun. Now, I've already talked about all of that, so why do I think this game's gameplay is so much better? Now, basically, the reason why is just one word: variety. This game has so much more variety than the last game. The last game, you basically, if you found a difference, you went back, and if you didn't, you went forward. Sometimes there are differences like certain chases or things that will show up, but in this game, there's just something interesting every single time. There are different threats and things to find. Just overall, the anomalies are much more interesting, and each of them provide a different threat. Now, I think the overall gameplay helps with speedrunning as well. You could speedrun the original game, and a lot of people did like to do that. I think this game is just better for speedrunning. more actual threats and actual challenging things to go against, and more brain power is needed, and I think it's more fun than that. It's just overall a fun game to speedrun. It's pretty fun to go and like try to get a good time. My first time was like 3 minutes, which is not the best, but it's still okay, and I think it's pretty good. But yeah, the game's just fun to speedrun more than the original. I think that also helps with its replayability. Also, in my opinion, just has better anomalies that are more interesting to me. So, in conclusion, I think if this game sounds interesting to you, you should buy it. It's pretty cheap, like, and I think it's also pretty high quality for the price. It may be short, but if you're looking for a fun, short and sweet experience, I think this is definitely worth the price. If you're interested in buying the game's name is called The Platform 8. But anyways, I just want to thank you for watching all the way through. It means a lot to me, and if you did enjoy, and if you want, you can like and subscribe, see when I upload next. But anyways, there's not really much else to say. I just hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Please help me. Please. I have... I have 9 days in this game. I can't stop playing. Please help me.